So when starting out on Skool, getting your first members inside the community can be difficult because nobody wants to arrive and be the first into a ghost town of a community. So you really have to try and work hard to get those first people inside. And they often say that you need 5 people to create a community in the first place. And I think this is very much true. And having the foundation, the right foundation with the right people at the start is also massively important, because when it's small, you want to make sure that those bonds and that connection and that engagement between them is unique. So you want to have the right people inside. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can get your first 25 Skool members inside completely for free, without doing any ads, without having to do any content or anything else, not having an audience. This is just a simple way for you to be able to get your first members inside, because it really does matter. In the beginning, if you think about it a lot like a party, nobody wants to be the first to come there. Nobody wants to come early. It's why people are always fashionably late to parties. So a party in the beginning, nobody's really going to be talking if they are there. Nobody's going to be engaging. They know it's going to feel a bit awkward. So they'd rather just come back later. And it's this type of mentality that maybe you've also seen in bars and restaurants. I know that if I go out on the island here in Thailand and we go out to see what's going on, perhaps before we go to a restaurant, and you'll drive by a bar or a restaurant, and if there's nobody in it or just a couple of tables, you think, maybe we'll go somewhere else that's busier, or maybe we'll come back later when it's busier. So we kind of judge it based on that social proof to think that we'll go somewhere else in the meantime. And your community is no different. So those first people that you get inside are really going to be setting the pace for your community as well. They're going to be the ones that are most active inside. They're going to be the ones that you want, ideally, so if you can actually handpick them, the ones that are going to be talking to other people, pushing the community forward. So we want to make sure that we've got those right people. We want it to feel like a party where there's some outgoing people already there who are willing to start dancing and chatting to people and getting others involved. So the first people do matter. It's not just a numbers game, such as trying to get someone to sign up for an email list and you're just checking off a box. Those first people really matter. So this is what I would do. What I would do is I would initially, if you've already set up your Skool community, I would go into your profile, and this is optional. You might think, okay, this is a little bit misleading, but as long as you're going to do ethical things inside other people's communities, which I'm going to show you very soon, then what I would potentially do, just so there's no conflict of interest, is hide your community, which you can do in your settings. You can hide any of these memberships, including your own community, so that at least for now, no one can see that you have that community. And then I would also change your profile description to something more, let's say, more sort of general, something that isn't so targeted, telling people exactly what you do. We are going to change this later on. But if you think about this, if you're going to start joining competitors' communities or similar communities, even if you have no intention of doing anything dodgy inside, and you actually want to be supportive, you want to be a good member, and you want to help them grow as much as yourself, but they may look at you when you apply and think, oh, are you just going to come in here and start trying to get business? So there is sometimes a conflict of interest there, and there are some people that ruin it for the rest of us. So what I would do is potentially turn these off so that you don't get rejected from free communities. And then what you want to do is you want to go into the Skool platform, you want to go into discover communities, and you want to start joining free communities, big free communities. I would say pick maybe, let's say, 3 of the top ones that you actually want to engage in. Or if there's a really big one, you can just focus on 1 or perhaps 2 and put all of your energy into those particular communities. Don't go out and do too many communities. Be very selective about the communities that you're going to actively become a member in. So go out and search for great communities that are doing something similar to you. Now, these could be exactly doing the same thing as you, or they could just be relevant, but also perhaps slightly bigger and more general. So if we were in a group that was digital marketing and they were doing organic and ads inside that community, but I was specializing in ads, there's still going to be lots of questions that I can answer inside there for people and people that I can interact with who are interested in just the ads part. So it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly straight down the line, exactly what you're doing and planning on doing, that's obviously makes it a bit easier. But it can be a bigger, more general group that you can start to target people in a different way inside. And then you want to make sure that you don't immediately go full guru, which is kind of what we do on social media, especially people coming from Facebook groups and so on. They do value posts. I start posting value posts. Yeah, here, I'll dump loads of information on it. And people are going, hey, thanks, that was great value. But there's no engagement. Nobody really cares. And the simple fact is, you're probably not in the beginning going to get very many views and attention and engagement from those types of posts. So don't create posts at all yet. But we don't want to go full guru. Focus on comments. We want to focus on comments because that's where the magic actually happens in communities anyways. So there's kind of an order that we want to do this in. And I see a lot of people getting this out of sync. And I've tested it different ways to see how it works. And if you do this order, it will work much better for you. So focus on the comments. Make friends. Be friendly with people. Talk to people like you would in real life. Find your people and actually connect with them and be friendly and be helpful and be a good member. Be the member that you would want in your community. Because if you can actually get along with the owner of that community, it's actually going to make things much easier for you anyways. So it's better to build connections than build enemies. We would rather have more friends than we would potentially people that are competing against us. So better that we grow together than, going at each other tooth and nail. So be a good member, be helpful, make friends. And then what we want to do is once inside these communities, if you did hide your profile and so on, I would then change those, make your community viewable so you can see it. So this is my community. I will link to our free community in the video description if you would like more training on growing your community and brand with YouTube and Skool. So I'll link to that. It's in the video description. But this is where you will see it. You will see your community showing up here. And then you've got your profile again, which you can change. So you can change that to basically say exactly what it is you do. So we want to make sure this is crystal clear. Between the community and between the profile, what do I do? At a glance, don't make me guess. Don't use lots of fancy filler words going, I help people with this different thing. And if it's not tangible, then, and people have to guess or ask a follow-up question, then it's not clear. So make sure it's crystal clear at a glance. And then we want to fix problems that match what you do inside your community. So coming back to the digital marketing example, if I was in a big community that was digital marketing, there was an element of ads inside, then what I could do is I could try and search for those types of ads, or I could scan through to find those types of posts, should I say. And then I'm going to be answering and helping with the comments below for the problem. So when people ask questions and so on, I'm going to be trying to actively help and be of value to those people. So we actively want to help people with their problems and their questions and almost be the micro guru or just a passionate, interested person. So we don't want to come off as do this, do that. This is what's worked for me. This is what I did in my community and this worked really well. Or this is what I do for the people that I work with. You frame it in a way that doesn't make you seem too guru or that you're just trying to teach and lecture, but share what you've been doing and build those connections and relationships as well. So you can see here, we've got obsessed pickleballers, slightly bigger community. You'd probably want a bigger one than this, but then you've got your new community, which is for pickleball players. This group is for anyone who loves pickleball, join our group and so on to learn more about pickleball. Completely congruent here. So the more you chat about what you do, the more people are likely to come across to yours. But this is something I like to call the dating phase. We want to make sure that we're doing the foreplay. Sorry to be crass, but we really want to be putting in the work here in dating them and actually getting to know them first before going in for the kill or asking anybody to join our community and so on. So this is the dating phase, the getting to know you phase. And you'll notice that if you put the time into answering comments, making friends, being of value, you will get much better results when you do step into the guru or expert role, perhaps, or more of a leadership role inside the community where you're perhaps doing slightly value posts or more posts in general. So we can see how this works. Now, I recently was doing some testing inside the Schoolers community and also asking questions and trying to get some feedback on different things. And I wanted to test a post idea, and I saw that this guy here is a prime example of what I mean by the dating phase, getting to know people, building connections first before going full guru. This guy here, who basically obviously hadn't been posting for a while, he asked a question. It was a general sort of question, rebuilding a dead community. He said, I need some tips to try and fire up my community again, and basically suggested a few things that he was going to do. But what was interesting, and this for me was prime what community is about, and how he had obviously done the groundwork right in the beginning, was that of all of the comments that he had, so 55 comments here, at least 12 of them, perhaps more, maybe even close to sort of 30%, were saying welcome back. So welcome back, hey, good to have you back, and everything else. Not even answering his question, just good to see him posting again. So he naturally got more engagement, more people were interested in what he had to say, more people were probably following him within his profile because they like his posts. So actively, he was getting better engagement. So 55 comments on a post that really wasn't even structured in the best way to drive any type of engagement. So I just decided on the same day to test a value post. I decided to share something of much more value than me just asking a general question. And I basically shared a freemium price and traffic calculator, which is a tool that will allow you to calculate how much you should be charging for your community to reach your potential goals, and then how many views and visitors you need to reach your financial goal with that community. So this whole calculator, and it's free in our community. I can link that just below so you can get it yourself. But it's a great tool for understanding your community and your goals and what you need to work towards, especially in terms of traffic versus your conversion levels inside the community as well. So really useful tool. Recorded a video on how to use it as well, and then created the post. So a lot of value in this post. Very useful for people out there. And look how many comments I got. I got 20 comments. So I got about 30% of the comments and engagement that he got on his general post. Hey, what's going on? I'm back. I'm doing some things here. Help me out. Got any tips? That, because he'd invested, he got 3 times the amount of engagement, even though I'm sharing much more value. So apathy is what I got. So we really have to go through this dating phase. And what I would say is actually even on that post that I just had, even doing this, about 50% of the comments in that were from my members from my community. So that means that most of the goodwill I was actually getting and engagement for that post was actually coming from my community where I'd already created some goodwill. So if we took away that good engagement, I might have just got like 10 comments. So it might have just gone with people going, that's nice, thanks, don't care. So literally moving on. So it just goes to show that even still in a different community, it was my members that showed up in the comments because they knew me, they like me, they trust me, and so on. So really, posts are ranked with goodwill interactions that you put the foundation into. So if you want to rank, and obviously if no one's engaging with your post, it starts to fall down and people see it less and less and they have to go to another page and eventually you disappear. So unless if you've got people that are going into those communities and actively trying to find new posts, or there's not many new posts, then there's a good chance that you're going to slip away and disappear and no one's really going to care. So if you're in a big community and an active community, then those interactions and that goodwill is going to help drive you up to the top and keep you ranking so that that post can go on for days getting interactions. So now, understanding that, and once you've done that dating phase, now you can post. Again, I wouldn't go full guru. I would be sharing different things, asking questions, and so on. But now you can start posting in there as you've built up that goodwill. And then what will naturally happen is that people will come through to your profile and they will want to join your community as they get to know you. So this is natural. People start to stalk each other and they start to see each other and decide that they're going to join communities and so on. But what will also happen is that you will discover people you like, that you engage with, that have a good energy, and that you actually want inside your community. Now, you can DM about 10 people per week for each group. So if you're in 3 groups, that's 30 people per week. Use this very sparingly. Only really message people that you feel like you've had a good interaction with first, that have a good energy. And then you could actually start cherry picking and inviting certain members. And you could say, hey, it's free for now, but I just really love your energy. I would love to have you in my community. I think it's a good match. What do you think? Feel free. If it's something you're interested in, I'd love to have you on board. And we're going to be doing very interesting things in the side and sell it to them a bit. But you don't have to be, it can be kind of hands off, take it or leave it. But I think you're great. Big up their ego a bit and say, and I'd love to have you as a founder member in my community if you've got time. So you could actually start sending out DMs to the people you want the most so that you can hand pick people, like inviting them to a private party. We all have people we want at the party and people that we don't. We might go, oh, this person, they just suck the life out of the room. But these people, these are fantastic. This one's always dancing. This one's fun. The energy is great all the way to the end. This one always singing. And you engineer the party a little bit so that you have good energy and it's a bit more fun. So that's what I would do. The next part after that is that you're going to want higher leverage. So this is going to be a great option for you getting your first 25 to 30 members, I would say. And you could keep doing it, but it's very time consuming and it will be a trickle of members and it's not very easy to build a business around that. So you could potentially get your first couple of clients, but you need something that's going to have more leverage. So what I recommend is obviously creating content, especially on YouTube with long form content. Because, for example, one of our members that I was just speaking to the other day, he was always doing this strategy that I've just spoken about in this video, and it really helped him to get his first sort of 50 to 60 members inside. But now he's got his first video getting a few thousand views, and that immediately doubled overnight almost the number of members that he had in his community. So he went from about 70 members up to about 180 just from one video, not even really going that viral, but it was just a good match. And that is passively happening. So when he wakes up, all he's got to do is start approving people for his community. And that is the power of content and the reach that it can get versus you having to go out and communicate with so many different people and answer so many comments, which can take absolutely hours. So if you would like to know more about the strategy that we use to basically grow our community with YouTube and Skool, then again, I will link to our free community in the video description. Otherwise, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.